Hey, okay, this is Egan on the cytosolic respawn room. I just ate a brownie, so my voice might be making crinkling noises. I'm sorry about that in advance as I'm talking. I would say that your use of the space allotted was generally really good. There's a little bit of weirdness, you know how when you go on the outside, you kind of see that the buildings are really thin and they just kind of end against the skybox texture. Like I can see that from the map that they maybe should continue on at least a little bit longer just to show that the building actually has depth. Like it clearly has depth because there's something going into something else here, and then that would probably end up somewhere, but like it doesn't, because it's like 150 units or 114 units or whatever. That looks a bit weird. I would say that the use of color in the map is kind of bad. You used yellows and stuff, which is great. It really is like a pick-me-up for some areas of the map. And use a lot of, it's just like whites and browns and yellows and really like just variations of color within them. Variations of shade within them, I mean, not color. Like, I feel like, number one, it's hard to tell whose spawn room this is. It could be red right there, but like, and I guess it is red because these are red too. But it's just, there's not really enough, I guess it is red because there's all these things are red, but like, it's really hard to tell. It almost looks like, a Disney ride where you just see windows right directly into things that they want to show us. It doesn't really look like it's a base that people would use. Like, I guess this looks pretty good. I like the data link is inside of here, and there's like a big door, and then you can see that there's actually things inside of it. But like, what's back here? And what's in here? You crawl up here, and then you just like drop gigantic crates in here. I guess there's a door here. I don't know. The wood on top of the tile looks a little strange. It looks really strange. Like you have a big old wooden barn, which it looks has like a whole bunch of struts on top of it, and it looks like there's even some detail in here, like locker room is inside of here with a big metal door. Looks like it's been here for a very long time. Watch your step, and there's like, it just looks like it's old and grimy and it's been here for a long time. And then you have like tile floor in here. I know it's like dirty tile floor, but like it's so, it's got like the tiled borders around it. Like it looks like this tile floor was here built before everything else, right? Or like it was built alongside with everything else. You even have like wood in accordance with the whatever, this yellow stuff, which looks cool, by the way. I like I like that use of it here. I guess you could have like, not had it just end between. That's a very small minor thing, but you could have just like, sized it to the brush a little bit better. Could have clipped this. Not a big deal. Clipping's not really an issue. Sorry, I just ate a brownie. Oh my gosh, I probably should not have eaten it before I started the recording. The lighting in this room is very dark. Why is the top of the spawn cabinet like so dark, right? You feel like there would have been more bounce of lighting in this room. It looks so dark. Like you can barely even see the tops of these props which are here. I have to do like matte wireframe just to see what props are here. Okay, like why is that like light switch here? I don't even think I saw the light switch. Yeah, it's like totally dark in here. If you have a spotlight in here, if you put a regular light but set its brightness, there's RGB, set its brightness to like 20 or even like 5, something really dark, just enough to light the rest of the props in the room, and then set it to like a brown light. You have white light, but you have brown bounce light off this stuff. I think there's actually a bounce key value you can set inside of the VMT material, but if this is just a wood material that you're probably going to be using throughout the rest of the map, I wouldn't even bother. I just put another light in here. Yeah, the lighting, like, did you not look through here and say, look at this lighting, it's a little bit brown and boring? There's no like reds. Like it was really hard to tell that this was red other than the props, which you really have to squint at because they're all in the dark. There's no like reds, there's no like grates, there's no like vents. It would be a really cool detail in here. You have like a vent in here, and the vent is like open. I don't know if you have any vents in here. But it would be really cool to see like the vent, like the holes through the vent are open, and you just see like red skirting in through the room through that or something. That'd be really cool. Just to really show that this is like a red room. It looks so old and barren and broken, and then you have like new, like tiled floor in here, and like it's not dirty at all. And I guess it is a little bit dirty. I'm really heavily nitpicking, but I gotta, because that's what I do. Something seems a little bit wrong with having like super, spy techy built into the environment, but I'm not given any sense of the spy tech in my vision at all. Like it's so like barn and like not spy tech, and then you have like grates that apparently lead to spy tech, as if this is like a spy tech building, but I'm not given really any glimpses of that, other than this, which looks good, by the way. So I wish that like I was given more spy tech. If this is a spawn room after all, I would expect to see just a little bit more, facade into spy tech. I know you're going, Egan, there's this place up here, but like as a regular player, I'm given like no, idea that that's even up there. Like you have like regular wooden barn walls in the spy tech area. Why? I do like your use of space, as I mentioned. You have like doors that lead to like garbage dumps and shit. Like that's clearly not the place that you put garbage, is just like in a dead room. But someone did. I like that you put that there, and just beer bottles and shit. I guess I kind of wish that there was like a light out here. Otherwise it'd be totally dark. Why would someone be drinking beer during the day and then just drop their shit and then going through a locked door? And why is there a lock on the door from the outside? Like how did they did they like crawl through the window after they locked themselves outside? That's a really, really small detail, but it looks a little weird. You know what I mean? I guess the watch your step sign is a little bit big. It doesn't really make a lot of sense that like the handle on this thing is here. Like someone carried it sideways, dropped it, unless they put it here regularly and they just turned it so the handle was facing outwards. Otherwise it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Good use of like the wheels for like a train or whatever. It would have been kind of cool if you had like more of those elsewhere. You have like tires and things, but like if you had more of those wheel things elsewhere in like the corners over here, that could look kind of cool. I really like that you can go outside in a detail environment, and then you could jump in through another door. That's a really, really cool idea. I really like that. I like that underneath these stairs you have the gold. That looks a little bit bright in there, like a little bit too distracting. Like, hey, look, there's a room down there. It's like, yep, I can see that. Hey, look, there's like gold and it's super flashy and bright. And I'm like, yep, I can see that. Like, there's no need to have it so bright in there. Very minor detail. Just like if it's out of like, 5 brightness, like let's say that's like 100 brightness, I'd set it to like 70 or maybe even like 75 brightness, just so it's not so thing. Or like set the brightness down, but then add like a specular map or something reflective to the gold, but not so harshly, just so you can see like tint of it as you walk by. You're like, oh look, there's like gold and shit down there, Yeah, that's weird that you have like blue and stuff, but then it's not. Yeah, I think that's what confused me, because like this gives the impression that it's like a blue base, especially because, typically blue spawn rooms are not very spy techy, so that's why I thought, okay, maybe this is like the attacking room, that a lot of like payload maps have. They'd have like, something like this, because for a red spawn room, you would not have these sorts of doors, because these doors are the ones that like open and they stay open from the setup time. But here, why is the red spawn even given that? You know what I mean? Like no red spawn ever has these doors. It doesn't make sense for the red spawn to ever stay open like that. And you might be saying, oh well, in this map, Egan, those doors, they don't happen to stay open for the rest of the round. Well, they do in every other map. So, kind of like what happened with the snowplow map, where Valve is like, it doesn't really make any sense that you guys are utilizing the timer on the top of the screen for something other than telling the time, when in every other TF2 map ever, the time at the top of the screen indicated the time in the round. And the snowplow guys were like, no, that's not a big deal because in our map we're using it for something else. You know, we're clearly using it for something else. But like Valve was like, no, that's too confusing for new players. And then the snowplow guys were like, okay, we're keeping it though. And then, yeah. Anyway, it's stuff like that where like you don't see it in any other map, so why is it here? Unless it doesn't open, then because like every other door opens here, but this door doesn't open. In which case, if it is just detail, that's finer, but you make more sense why it doesn't open. You know, put some, you know, barrels or crates in front of on either side, or even like a shovel leaning up against it or something from the other side. I don't know. The fact that this doesn't align with the door, you're probably looking at that in Hammer and thinking, oh, no one will ever notice. I noticed. It also kind of looks weird that the door goes on top of the tracks. You think that probably someone would have built the door assuming that there would be tracks going through it, clearly. Because this is like a mining facility. But there isn't really any indication that someone thought of it, you know. I would just lift up the door and the top of that frame up completely and then just like filled in like the sides with like dirt or something just to show that, look, I thought of it. I put some space for the tracks to go through. You probably should have put like the stain around the edge of this door, like just because it looks a little bit bare bones on the floor. It's like too clean for this door, you know. Like if it says keep out, it looks like a very heavy duty door. Probably someone hasn't been here in a while, so I'd probably just put a stain, like someone who hasn't cleaned here in a while too. I guess the yellow Lego bricks are a little bit strange looking, just because I liked that they were here because this shows like this is the heavy duty ramp that a lot of people are bringing in crates up into the main section here. But I guess it doesn't really make a lot of sense that they'd be here also. Like this doesn't really look like it would be the heavy duty door. Unless this is where like trucks were to go to be unloaded, but there's no like truck tire tracks or even any way for a truck to get in here. The lighting on these trees is a little bit plain. Probably just would not have used those trees at all. They're not very good trees. Unless you could have somehow found a way to make the lighting on them better, because in this case they look kind of bad. For your 3D skybox, the transition between, here I'll just go to your 3D skybox, the transition between this like dark green, blue, and then light purple and even lighter purple. The transition between those two colors is a little bit jarring. It's not a big deal because I think some Valve maps even do that. Maybe, I don't actually quite remember, but like you gotta admit that looks a little strange. Why isn't it not just like you know, you have dark green, a little bit lighter blue, even lighter blue. You know, you probably just could have put that blue there and not use the purple at all, and then I would have thought this was generally fine. Like the purple really throws it off. It's also kind of weird that you don't have any fog in your 3D skybox. Like clearly these trees are far enough away that we can only see the shimmer, the shadow, the foggy outline, the silhouette of them. But how come the rocks are in picture perfect view? You know, there's no here, I'll go back down to the main map. Maybe there is fog. Nope, the rocks are in picture perfect, like clear as anything, and like the you know, even over here the forest ends into it, so we would assume that at this level of the rock it would also be getting the same amount of treatment of fog that the skybox cards are, but it's not. I know that's an incredibly small detail, but this is a detail contest, so I'm gonna notice these things. You know, generally the outside, it's pretty good, I gotta admit. Like, if I just saw this right now, right here, right this perspective, it looks pretty good, man. Or lady, it looks good. I like it. Yeah, it looks generally passable. I kind of would have put like a barrel or like a light in here. Like more lights, I guess I would say. It looks kind of weird that this whole base has no operation during the nighttime. You know, there's no lights at all on the outside. You know, no lanterns, no nothing. There's not like a lantern outside even on like a barrel or something, like someone would use this base at night. It's a little strange. There's no like pipes or leaking faucets or stains or anything. It looks a little like it wasn't totally thought of the use for how it would be used. I nitpicked a lot, but got a good use of space. generally interesting texture use and ideas of areas. Some of the geometry is a bit strange. Like, how come I don't get to see that spy tech? Like, it feels like it's like I see that there is spy tech that supposedly exists, but like if this is a red spawn, you'd expect to see some more spy tech. Unless this is a blue spawn, which would make more sense because, you know, this would be where people attack out of, but like it's not, it's clearly red, as we found out. But if this was blue, I think that would help a lot, actually, if you just switched it to blue, to be honest. Like, look at Dust Bowl Stage 1 blue spawn. Like, it looks a lot like this, you know? Okay, that's all I gotta say. Good job, though.